Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joella Sheree, and I have Rod Cook with us. Hello, Rod. He's our guest
Hi,
today.
Jay.
And I hope you get into him in just a minute. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. He has a studio there called Luscious Moss Studio. And he's promised was originally set up for drummers and guitarists, but since then he's kind of changed things up a little. And he's also producing CDs and recordings and music. So if you have any of those kinds of needs, do check him out. It's a very creative and collaborative environment. I think you'll enjoy it. I do my music there. So what
I
are
know.
going to ask you today, Rod? Um, I think one of the things I like to start out with is your background because I was reading your bio and a lot of it's forgotten, but the one thing that stood out was it was vast. How did you start? What instruments did you start? And what influences were you influenced the most by?
Um, I started. I was about 9 years old, and I have an older brother who was playing guitar, and so I had to, you know. Um, so that's and I started playing guitar, which is my main instrument.
Oh,
Um,
approximately, without dating yourself, approximately how old were you when you started on the guitar?
I was about 9,
Wow.
and I got a horrible guitar for my birthday, where the action was, you know, strings are very high off the neck. It was difficult to play, so it was a slow process. But um, I was pretty much self-taught. My older brother played, and he showed me a few chords and a couple other things like Secret Agent Man and
Yeah.
Pipeline. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I went from there, and I started picking up things off the radio and off my record player, and got an electric guitar when I was probably maybe 13 or 14, and um, and then played my. There was a variety show at my junior high school. I think I was in ninth grade, and so some friends put a little band together, and we played a couple songs at that. So that's how the whole band thing started. Prior to that, my brother had he was playing it in a band, and they would practice in our basement here, and I live in the house I grew up in,
Oh,
so
cool.
so I'm in that very basement, um, and so I would come down and watch them, and every now and then they'd let me play with them. So
Who were you playing? Were you playing rhythm or lead or what did you
um,
start playing?
both, like probably by that time, um, yeah. By the time I was starting to pick up leads on my crappy acoustic guitar, um,
With the bad
and it,
action?
yeah. Yeah, and I was baffled because I didn't realize you could bend the G string
Ha!
like you can an electric guitar, and so I was like, wow, these guys are really good, you know. I mean, they were really good, but um, once I got an electric, then I or got my hands on an electric, then I realized there were many more possibilities. So I
What
don't know.
was your influences? I mean, what kind of music was your brother playing with his band, and what kind of music did you play with the band that you were talking
It
about
was it was
earlier on?
pretty much what you were hearing on the radio in the mid '60s,
Pops.
mid to late '60s. So Beatles, Stones,
Yeah.
later groups like Cream, um,
Even country back then.
Led
They,
Zeppelin. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah. Who did you like the best, or what did you think about? I mean, what was the one person, if or many, that you thought, wow, I'd like to learn that. I'd like to do that.
um, one of the guys, and this is after I'd been playing a little while, but Johnny Winter was a big influence on me. Um, I guess in the late '60s. or around maybe around 70.
Mhm.
Crosby, Stills and Nash. Um, uh, Later on, Edgar Winter, Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, but Johnny Winter was that was the first time I'd heard slide guitar, and that's what kind
Oh, yeah.
of
Do you slide? I've
yeah,
never.
yeah,
Oh,
and that inspired me to kind of dabble with that. I had a friend in metal shop cut me a piece of pipe and
ah,
that would fit around my little finger, and I knew, and then when Dwayne Allman came along, that inspired me even more, and started learning some of that stuff. Although I didn't know anything about open tunings at the time,
yeah.
I didn't realize that we're doing that. But so yeah,
So
I started doing that at a pretty young age, uh, playing around with the slide.
I know I played with you on stage. I think it was Stockton's. Yeah,
Yeah,
Village
yeah.
Jam. Were you sliding then? It was funny.
Uh,
I didn't
Probably
remember.
not when we were playing, but
Okay.
I yeah, I did a little bit. Yeah, I did a few
Well, there's
tunes.
a Brooks and Dunn song that I do called Boot Scoot and Boogie. And that the entrance on some of the recordings is a slide.
Hmm.
And so I bought a slide and tried to do it. I guess I'm not familiar with the technique. I think that takes a little time.
Yeah, there. Yeah, you have to do some muting with both hands,
Uh,
um, because you only want certain strings to ring out, and
right. Yeah,
so
well, I don't know about that, but
and then there's the whole intonation thing too. There's that.
yeah, true. Okay, well, from there, how did you get into country? I mean, what
Um,
was that later on, or did you start out with that, or I mean,
yeah,
obviously you didn't, but
that was later on. I mean, the first probably, and I didn't really have much exposure to it when I was younger. Um, and uh, I mean, probably the first country song I ever played was "Wild Horses" by the Rolling Stones. And um, that felt pretty natural at the time, as I recall. It was probably when I was in high school, um, or yeah, probably high school. Um, when uh, I went through high school, played in bands, and and I also worked a job at a grocery store. Um, and when I was 20 years old, I also went to Green River Community College for a year and took some music classes. And when I was 20 years old, I had some friends that I really admired that were looking for a bass player, and they
oh,
were older than me. And the guitar player was the leader, uh, and he wanted to put together kind of a country rock band. And so, and I wanted to quit my job and become a musician. Um, so I switched over to bass and was playing country oriented bass. And that's kind of what got me into that genre. And I learned a lot because it's a lot. I wasn't familiar with a lot of the artists
yeah.
that we were covering,
Oh, I've
and
got
this is kind of in the outlaw country era, so we were doing Jerry Jeff Walker and Waylon and Willie
yeah.
and all kinds of stuff.
I,
Most of it not all that commercial.
yeah.
Um, and then when that band broke up, I switched back to guitar, and my I was kind of my connections were within that genre still, so I continued to play country for a couple more years, and then got more back to my original roots. Probably were more in blues rock, and
Ah,
I kind of gradually got more into that. And um, but it's all kind of the same thing,
yeah.
I think.
Well, I don't know. I have a theory. I have an opinion. Let's put it that way. that country music is recognizable by its riffs, by how you begin the song. I mean, once the lead plays um, the riff or whatever you call it in your world, you know to get up to dance because you know what's going to follow. Now, I don't find that in rock as pronounced, and well, I don't really know blues. I mean, I play blues, I listen to blues, but it's not my thing. So I kind of don't pay attention. But when I listen to Billy, he is a little more distinct to me. But I think for me, country has those riffs that almost need to be there. Is that how would you agree with that or challenge that or
Um, I think if you're talking about traditional country, yeah.
yeah?
But I think that's similar with blues too. I mean, there's a
Okay.
lot of um, and traditional rock and roll too. There's just um, I don't want to say cliche, but that's the word that comes to mind. I mean, but uh, and that and I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, there are just certain ways to play um, that kind of music in the traditional style that if you go too far outside of it, then it's well, then you're um, I don't want to say you're playing it wrong, but you're taking it somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either. It's
Right.
just
Right.
you know
Yeah. I have the problem with some of that because the people that play with me when I go to jams, they're not country players, and so they're doing a lot of improv or what they think goes there, and and sometimes it bothers me because it's a little far out. It's just not what I'm used to, and
yeah. I can. I mean, there's a fine line between being inappropriate and
it's
being adventurous or innovative or whatever.
exactly yeah.
And um, yeah, so that's something that has over the years has been important to me is kind of being able to play what's appropriate to the
Exactly.
genre of
Yes.
music that you're playing.
Right.
Um,
I have a comment here. This is my good friend Rod. They didn't leave their name, so please put your name on any comments that you make so we know who you are and can comment appropriately. And also, my friend Rosie is on here and she's kind of a regular listener. Not kind of, she is. And she's always watching you guys and hearing your stories. She probably knows more about most of the local players than most people because she always tunes in. Anyway, hi Rosie. This is Rod, and
yeah,
he's
I'm not
getting
seeing.
into it. You can't
What if
see
I
them.
hit chat? Will that show me the comments?
You
You think?
might. That might be the button you need.
Well, no, that just got rid of everything. Oh, wait a minute. Comments.
Oh well, God caught him. Do you see him?
Yeah, yeah, but
Okay.
I lost you and I lost me, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not getting him over here in
Losing
the
me is no big thing, but if you lose you, then we're in trouble. Okay, so you were 20
that
years
might
old,
work.
I think you said approximately.
Yeah, I was 20 when I started. I just turned 20 when I started playing professionally, um, and I really haven't had a real job since that grocery store job
Well, I'd
that I
say
quit
you'd
when I was
have.
20
If
years
you're
old.
a full-time musician, you've had a job. I One thing that I know for sure is most musicians put a lot of hard work to get into where they are today. So,
Yeah, I've been fortunate.
yes.
Haven't made it rich, but done some cool stuff, and I never really when I was 20, I figured, well, if I don't make it by the time I'm say 40, then I'll have to find something else to do, and Um, and I'm, I'm 67. I'm still working a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm,
You're as old as my husband. But what do you mean when you say make it? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to make it. If you've been able to live off your music, I'd say you made it, right?
yeah, well, I guess making it would be either uh, as an artist yourself, which is something I pursued only half-heartedly. Um, get achieving commercial success and
Right.
popularity, or as a songwriter, you know, um, having a song or two that did really well, um, or or as a sideman, getting established playing with national acts. And
Have you ever played with national acts?
um, well, I played once with Taj Mahal when he used a local pickup band and came through town. I played with a woman from the north. Well, she not originally from the Northwest, but she'd been living here a long time. Laura Love. Um,
Somebody mentioned that her name.
and
In
yeah, and
is
we
she
we
from Maple Valley?
no, she lives in Twisp now, but
Oh, okay.
she lived in Seattle when
Oh,
we played together. Um, and that yeah, I played with her for about 15 years, and we did. Uh, she was kind of hard to categorize, but it was a folky, funky kind of thing.
okay, funky.
She played electric bass, played a lot of slap bass, and I mostly played acoustic guitar, except on the recordings, um,
Hmm.
and drums, and so it was it was a really eclectic, interesting band, and we toured Canada and the U.S. and she did
Wow.
a couple records for Mercury Records.
Hmm.
So she had a major label deal for I don't know, about 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, so that's as close as I've come to being able to say I played with a national act. But we did we did a lot of cool stuff. We played Merle Fest in North Carolina quite a few times, which all the country Americana people were at that thing. Um, Telluride Bluegrass Fest, Newport Folk Festival. So a lot of good stuff.
Sounds like fun. Ha.
And there's some of that is up. I've put some of the videos I have up on YouTube. If
Okay.
anybody's interested in that, it's kind of fun to
So how do
watch.
they find them? When do they type in to get to them?
You could probably type in Laura Love, or you could type in my name, and it probably would come
Right.
up
Good.
since I'm the one that put them up.
Okay.
Um, so,
Yeah, you this interview will be there too. So I will send you the link. We're through.
okay.
And then somebody just said, "Hey, Rod Cook, can you tell us who you are? Because I can't. Without your name there, I don't know. We don't know how to greet you." Obviously, somebody's fan here. A couple of them. Uh, when
Yeah,
was?
it's funny their names aren't coming up.
Yeah,
I
they
guess
have
you
to
have to
do
type it.
something when they bring the site up, and I don't know if they're missing that step or it's not showing up. That one's kind of out of my control there. Uh, so when you were in your after you graduated and you were in your early years, what was the first paying gig that you had, and what? I know you said you were playing bass. Was that the first band that you gigged with, or?
No, I had a band in high school, and so probably the first paying gig it was probably a after school junior high dance, or maybe a Rainbow Girls dance, or Demolay, or one of those things. That's what we did, and or sometimes too we'd hear somebody was having a party, and This is probably more when I was a senior,
Yeah.
and we would basically offer to play, for drinks.
Yeah,
So
that's huge.
yeah, 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 had some pretty fun
So,
times doing that actually. But yeah, so the first paying gigs were mostly after school junior high dances, which I think paid the band like $25 or something. Made about
that's about what they're paying today.
$5 a piece.
So that comment, hi, Rod Cookris from Larry Hayes. He's been on here and interviewed, and I think you probably
Hi,
know.
Larry.
Hi, Larry. So, when did you get the first? Somewhere in this range of I'm kind of stuck at 20 for some reason. I'm still on 20, but as you were moving forward, what was the best paying job that you had in the early years, and then the best paying job you had later on?
I don't really know. Um, I, I mean, you're talking about like one gig.
Yeah, nah. Just you can group them together. And the reason I'm saying this kind of a tricky question because I'm trying to get at the fact that there is not much change
Oh,
in in the pay. um,
um, well, that's true to a certain degree.
Around here
When
anyway.
I think back in the '70s, I guess it was I started in '76
Okay.
playing professionally, and so by the late '70s, if you're making $200 a week, that was pretty good. So you're getting
Yeah.
40 or $50 a night probably, $250. That was pretty good money back then, especially for a young person,
Right.
because everything was cheap. And I mean, it's relative, kind of, but not really. Um, and back then, you would play 5 or 6 nights a week,
Yes. Yes.
and you'd maybe be in a place for a month, doing that.
Yeah.
So um, and that went on for quite a while, probably up till the '90s. I mean, there were places that were 2 nights a week, one nights a week, but there were also rooms that were 4 nights a week or
Mm.
5 or 6 even, uh, through the '80s. Um, and then in the '90s, it seems like that started to change. A lot of the bigger rooms that would have music for multiple nights a week cut back, or for whatever reason. Um, I think a lot of it there was more home entertainment. People for a period there, it was pretty boring to stay at home,
Yeah.
and people went out and listened to music during the
Yes.
week, and they stayed out late and partied, um, and that was just a bigger part of people's lives back then, I think. Um, so now it's like if you stay in one place for more than one night,
Yeah.
it's kind of a luxury if you get to leave your gear overnight. That never happens anymore. But at the same time, it's kind of I don't mind going a different place, 3 or 4 nights a week, because it's uh, it's less like a real job than going to the same place, you know, every night
True.
of the week.
True. It's more
So it's a toss up, but um,
as far as
that
money
doesn't.
part. As far as the money part, between the
Yeah, yeah.
earlier
Getting
days
back to
and the
that, like in the 90s, it was pretty standard to get, it was good, but it was fairly standard to get $100 a gig for a local club gig.
Per person?
Yeah, yeah. And that's still fairly standard. I mean, so that's how things haven't changed. Now, when I was playing with Laura Love, we were,
Yeah.
of course, we're traveling,
Really? Yeah.
but that's probably the best paying gig I've had. Is I play with a group called the Dusty 45s now,
Yes.
and that band generally we make pretty good money.
Do you go casinos with them? Are they playing casinos?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And those, casinos I think pay better.
Mm-hmm.
I've only done casinos a handful of times, and I don't really like them.
Oh.
Personally, it's just I've always I never was in like strictly top 40 bands, or I never played a lot of stuff that I didn't like playing.
Yeah.
I've been really lucky. So, but
they do a lot of tribute stuff.
The casinos, yeah, that would actually be fun. I think I did play in a band a few years ago called the British Beats, and we did it was all British artists, so it had to. It didn't matter. I mean, it could be 60s to the 90s. We did everything from the Beatles to Sting, and that was fun. And it was kind of a tribute thing. But and I did a few dates with a Linda Ronstadt tribute band, Stone Pony, last year. I'm just too busy to really. My other commitments got in the way of it, but it was fun playing that stuff too. It's for those of us who grew up with that music, I think it's fun to try and recreate it.
Yes.
But if that was the only thing I was doing, it would probably
bore you to death.
It'd get old really fast. Yeah.
We got another commenter here, Brian Harris. He's got a comment. You have to excuse me because I can never see this darn thing, but it says, nice to catch another interesting interview. Rod seems to have gotten around some. It's nice to go from kitchen parties to stage work and perform with seasoned musicians. And this is absolutely true. As a jammer, I get to run into guys like you, and it's always a treat to play because you're so right on. And then I notice all my mistakes more. Then I go home and practice.
Well, yeah, that's what the jams are about, and yeah.
As he says, 100 to 250 per performer, depending upon gig, but that is Canadian, and our money is a little less of the American dollar. I have always charged more for corporate gigs. Yeah, that's another thing that pays good, are corporate gigs.
Yeah. And solo stuff, which I've done a lot more over the last. I'm not doing much now. I do maybe once or twice a month. But prior to the pandemic, I was doing a lot of solo stuff, and you're going to make anywhere from $150 to $300 or $400 depending on the gig, and people depending on the gig too, people will tip you, and you don't have to split the tips with anybody. Yeah. So yeah. But they can also be very soulless or soul killing, because you're if a lot of those gigs people really aren't paying attention, and you don't have anybody, you're not playing with anybody, so you can't commiserate with anyone.
All right.
I mean, if you're playing with somebody, you can go,
Well, I want to do solo, but I'm not good enough. I mean, I'm not a lead, and I need someone else up there with me just to add to what I'm doing. So I haven't gone that route yet, but I keep trying. I just figure, well, sooner or later,
It
if I
took me a long time. I think I was close to 40
wow,
before I did a solo gig. Um, and I'd been playing with James Curley Cook, who was a founding member of the Steve Miller Band. We had an acoustic guitar duo called Double Cookin',
wow,
and he's no longer with us, sadly.
oh,
But that was a cool thing, and it kind of inspired me to because he would do solo stuff also, and it kind of inspired me to have the confidence to play solo, and it's fun, I mean, I made it through the pandemic doing that too, just doing live streams, and just gave me something to do,
great.
um, I guess we're going to talk about that later. But
Yes, no, that's a good segue into it. Um, so what actually, when it shut down, I think it was 2020, yeah, in about
it was
March or April,
hmm
and
it was
everything
March.
just stopped. And you made a comment earlier about, um, people maybe staying home and watching watching these big screens and movies and etc. But there are a lot of people like myself out there searching for anything live. I mean, it's just crazy. And I found a couple of, I don't know if you know, uh, Lyle Runling. Um,
I've heard that name. Yeah.
yeah, he had a program. He used to do it Tuesday and Friday nights, and and then Jessica Linwiddie and Raymond Hayden. I don't know if you know them, but they as well. And Jessica had a happy hour from 5 to about 5:45 every Thursday. And if I hadn't done that, I think I would have gone insane. And there are a lot of people out there that really they were searching for that kind of music, and I find it interesting that you did do that, and I missed it. I don't know how I did,
Well,
but I did.
they're still up, and I still do one occasionally because I I at first I was like, well, this is silly, and I
Yeah,
didn't so I didn't do it, and then after probably wasn't more than a month, I decided to try and do it, and I didn't really have at that time I didn't have an iPhone. Um, I had a tablet, but it sounded horrible. I mean, I tried one. It was like, oh my God. So so I tried a laptop with a webcam, and that kind of worked okay, and that's what I did initially. And then my tablet broke, thankfully. So I got a new one. I went to
thankfully.
I got a new one, and it sounded better. So I was using it, but I still wasn't getting what I wanted. I wanted it's like if you're gonna do this, it should look and sound good. And um, so eventually that fall, I bought a Mac laptop and a webcam and an audio interface. Uh,
Is that the
so I
one you couldn't connect to today?
yeah yeah
Ah, yeah.
and and um, and then I was able to run out of my mixer direct, and get good sound, and then I started adding cameras, and I got so now I've got like 4 cameras and decent audio. Uh, and the other thing was the OBS, so open broadcasting software,
Yeah.
and it's a free download, and so it allows you to hook up multiple cameras,
Yeah.
um, and to live stream on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. And so then then the quality definitely
Picked
went
up.
up.
Yeah.
But I was getting even when I had kind of half-ass quality, I was getting a lot of people and good responses. So it was fun. It was it gave me a sense of purpose, you know, like,
Right.
okay, I'm still,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
still being able to do what I love to do. And actually the live streams are more fun
Yeah.
than most of my live solo gigs, because the people that are there
Yeah,
actually,
listening.
yeah,
Listen.
yeah, yeah, they're there
Yes.
because they're usually your friends, or they're there because they want to be there.
Yes.
So whenever I have some off time, I'll do one. I mean, I'm probably doing, you know, just a handful a year now, but I still like doing them.
Yeah, I
So
found when that was all going on, I found one by Garth Brooks, and he was with Trish, his wife Trisha, and Keith Urban and Brad Paisley, and they had all the stuff. They had a
yeah,
perfect sound and all the cameras and yeah. But I also like the locals and maybe not as sophisticated with what they were doing, but nevertheless, you really it wasn't bad. That was very good, actually. So I'm glad you
I
did.
did. Oh, go ahead.
No, we just have another comment. He said, "Un uncooked. Talk about your albums." Yeah, we're getting there. Well, first of all, we had to get
Oh,
through
okay.
this.
Well, yeah, I've done a lot of recording, but as far as stuff under my own name, I've got just a few titles. I've got one album, Double Cooking, that I did with Curly Cook back in 1995, and that's still available, and I still have copies of that. My band, which is Rod Cook and Toast, which is
Is that current? That current
yeah,
band?
yeah, we've been together uh, since like '96, but pretty much the same members. Although it started, it was a quartet initially. It's a trio now, but it's been a trio since the early 2000s. Um, so I've got two albums with them: I Ain't the Fool and Troublemaker. Um, Actually, I've got these right here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to just when you show them so they can see full screen.
Okay,
Okay.
no, I'm here.
And
Okay, so here's the Double Cooking album. Um, this is the first Toast album. It's with Keith Lowe on bass, Dan Tyak on pedal steel, and Chris Layton on drums. The second Toast album is Chris Layton on drums, John Bayless on bass, and me. And then this is my solo acoustic album, Uncooked.
so that's what he meant by uncooked. So you're a singer-songwriter as well.
Yeah,
Those are
although
your
this
original
this
songs.
album is this album's mostly covers. It's got
Uh-huh.
three originals. This one's about half and half. Oops. And then this one is mostly original. It's there's a couple covers, but it's mostly original. So I'm not extremely prolific as a songwriter, but um, I do write, and we are attempting to record another album because we're about 15 years overdue for one.
Yeah, that's always well, that's amazing. I didn't know that. I would have also put in your the advertisement of you coming on for an interview that you're a singer-songwriter as well. So
Yeah,
now, how do we that uncooked? I'd like to get that. I would like to buy that album. So, do you have it on Spotify or any of the like Amazon? Any of the? No.
I don't know. Um, yeah, there's a joke. Um, it's I hate the music, but I love the business. Because yeah, I don't I'm not a good business person, and um, so yeah, you can contact me directly. You can find me on Facebook. You can contact me via email, which is rwcook56@gmail.com.
gmail.com. I know I have your email, so
Yeah.
I also have
So
your phone number. I suppose I could sell that, right? No.
yeah. So we have, but yeah, and if, right now, I mean, the only way to get them is in physical form, physical CDs, which
Okay.
um,
That's kind of getting to be a thing of the past.
I know. I hear they're coming back though. You know, vinyl's coming back, and if vinyl comes back, then CDs are going to come back.
Yeah.
I figured.
You probably
I don't know. I like tangible physical product myself,
well, the problem
but
is the problem with that tangible product is some people don't have, like, especially on tablets
they don't
and
have CD players.
yeah. And so I'm
I
like,
know.
I got this album and I can't find time enough to get in here and stick it in a computer. Just a thought.
Yeah. No, I know, and I need to yeah, I know. I need to make it so that people can download this stuff, and
Yeah.
so what I need is either somebody to make up a website for me, so that's
Yes,
possible.
you don't have a website. Oh no.
No, I just got my Facebook music page.
Okay, so
Or
I saw that. It
or
gave me
the
a
other
message.
yeah, the other option is is to go to Amazon or CD Baby or one
Yeah,
of those.
that's what I did.
Amazon, I used to sell through them, and they they take a pretty big hit, or they used to take a
Of
pretty big
course.
chunk
Of course.
of your product. So I just, and I wasn't selling a lot to them, so I just stopped. But I don't know. You know, you don't make unless you sell a lot of them, you don't make very much money anyway. So it's just good to have it out there.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times when people go to one of your gigs that, and this is a general statement from somebody who's not as experienced as you are, but oftentimes, you want something in your hand to remember the music and the sound and, what you've experienced live. You want to reproduce that through your iPhone or your computer or whatever with the CD in hand. I get that.
I've thought about putting him on like a thumb drive, because I know
Yeah.
I know people have done that, and that's
Mhm.
another option.
Yeah.
You could put your whole catalog on a thumb drive, and then people could take it and download it.
Right.
And
Well, I don't know. It's with YouTube nowadays. It goes out there, and as far as I know, they're not paying for any of that. So,
no, they aren't. I did put I put this one up on YouTube recently.
okay.
So if anybody wants to
And
listen to it,
post.
they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can go on YouTube and listen to it.
How much are you selling Uncooked for? And how do you get it to people? Do you mail it or what?
Yeah, I'd mail it. So I'm selling them for $10, and
Okay.
and then $4 for shipping and handling.
Okay.
So
Sounds reasonable. Sounds like right in the ballpark, and you don't have to
yeah,
take a share of it and give it to somebody else. Right.
yeah.
Which brings me to how you just go to Facebook, Rod Cook. Is that how I got to you? Is that like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got to me through my music page or my business page. I have a personal page also.
Okay.
So either one works.
All right. Well, I'll try to get that. I want to hear it. The only problem is it'll take me a while to hear it because I can only put it in my computer. So going forward, what gigs do you have coming up, or what exciting things do you may have in the future? What is happening in your world of music?
Yeah, that's the thing. I should have
And do
left my
you still
laptop.
play with the 45 Dusty 45s?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We just played Jazz Bones last Friday.
Oh yeah, in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we played the Triple Door the Friday prior to that. We have the tractor coming up on Thanksgiving
Oh,
Eve.
yes. I'm glad you told me that because I like that place.
And we play Slim's Last Chance Saloon every Thursday from
Where's
6
that
to
located?
it's in Georgetown, South Seattle,
Oh, okay.
First
6 and
Avenue. So it's a couple blocks north of the First Avenue Bridge.
okay.
Yeah, 6 to 8:30. That's kind of a under the radar thing, but it's a lot of fun. Um, I'm playing with my trio, Toast, at North City Bistro Friday night. That's in Shoreline, or I guess
Okay,
East
yeah.
Shoreline, North
Okay.
City. Um, Saturday, I'm playing solo in Gig Harbor at a place called Old Looney's.
Okay.
Sunday, another trio I play with. It's a different bass player, singer, and we do a little more 60s, 70s classic rock. Besides the stuff that I do, which is more roots blues. We're playing at Remlinger Farms Brewery
Oh
in
yeah,
Carnation.
that's my me. That's not far from here.
Yeah, that's 4 to 6 on Sunday. So that's what I've got that I can remember coming up here
Yeah.
in the next few days.
And you have all that posted, right? You have that posted online
Yeah,
under. Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll be taking a look at that. I want to ask you if you have, it's a tricky question because sometimes you get answers I'm not really sure I should have asked. But do you have a plan about what you want to keep? What do you want to do in the next 1 to 5 years, or you're just kind of playing it day by day or week by week, or and how many bands are you actually in?
Currently, I'm in. I guess technically, let's see, I guess 4 bands, and then the solo stuff, and then guesting at jam nights occasionally.
Yeah,
Um,
at Billy's show, or everywhere? Billy's, yeah.
yeah, I do 2 of Billy's. I occasionally do Tommy Wall's jam out in
Oh yeah,
Kirkland.
yeah.
I haven't done that for a while, but that's something I occasionally do. And then there's one that used to be a jam up north in Mill Creek at Peebles, and
Oh
now it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
now it's like an artist
I've
showcase. So
down there. Yeah, it's now
yeah,
artist showcase.
yeah. So they basically, instead of having it be a jam where you have a special guest,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the house band and the special guest all night.
Okay.
And but it's cool. It's fun. So
Well,
that's a pretty nice venue, and people come out and enjoy it. So
I was
I do
there
I do
for jams, so I don't know about this other thing. I'd never get to that part, but at least I know where it is. I know the guys that play up there.
Yeah, it's Scotty and Tommy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Eric.
Yes, yep. So we do have a longer, longer post here. It says, using Bandzoogle for your website. Oh, use Bandzoogle for your website. They are great, and you can sell uh, much from there as well, and they can help you They can help you with your site. And, there was another one. You also went with just
Yeah, I'm
DISTROG.
looking at
Yeah,
it.
I've seen that before, but yeah.
DistroKid.
Yeah, and they post to sites like Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Roku, and they are cheap compared to many. I have a website, so and it's not cheap. So I mean, I pay.
That's I used to have one, and I was paying somebody a monthly fee basically just to update my calendar. And I mean, this was back before you could sell stuff online.
Right.
Um, and before PayPal and any of that. So I just finally dumped it and
Yeah.
probably lost my domain.
Yeah, and that is expensive yearly as well. I use GoDaddy, and it's what a pain in the arse. It really is.
Yeah. Um, that's something I should be doing. I get kind of overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I get that. A lot of musicians that I've talked to, they've struggled with the web page. Some have it, some don't. And advertising is probably the number one thing now today for musicians to do, to get out there, let people know about them and whatever in programs like this. So um, you get out there and you're known. So a lot of times I see these ads, I don't know who they are, and so I just keep on trucking. Yeah, so they have to catch me somehow. Uh, like I found you because we jammed together. So you said it was between now and 5 years from now. I'm not quite clear on how that answer went.
I don't think I answered it.
Okay,
uh,
you got
I've
another
never really,
try.
I've never really had a 5-year plan, and at my age, I guess my 5-year plan
Yeah.
is just to stay alive and hopefully uh, keep stay alive, stay healthy, and keep doing what I'm doing now. I mean um, that's kind of always been my 5-year plan. I guess it's just to keep my calendar full.
Well, it looks like you're doing the job.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, the pandemic made me rethink that because I actually,
Yes.
I mean, it helped that musicians were able to get unemployment, and
Yeah.
I mean that was quite a godsend, and
Yes.
or um, anyway, thank the powers that be for
Yes.
making that happen. But uh, it made, especially when things first opened up again, I was a little more picky about what I did. I I I I'm less apt to take anything that comes along now because that used to be my mindset that as you don't turn down a gig, it's and I don't know, I'm probably a little pickier now,
That's a good thing. That's
but
a
I can, yeah, yeah, I think is I can be so um uh yeah.
We have a couple more comments. Hot Rodster Band. I don't know if you know Rodney Landert. He's fiddle player, the Hot Rodsters, country
I
music.
don't know.
Oh, you gotta catch these guys. So they're full of energy, and they're just a good time. So hi Rodney, glad you were able to join us. He said he was in the studio recording, and um, someone said the calendar is full. Having a full calendar is a good thing, obviously. Right. So what was the best time that you ever had, or times plural, that got you to thinking, I'm doing the right thing. This is for me. I want to keep doing this. What was the
Um, Boy, I
event?
don't know that kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because sometimes even though you're doing what you love to do, sometimes it's work.
Yeah.
It's not either.
It's not all fun.
Um, yeah, it's not always fun. I mean, it it's either for your own personal reasons or um, um, I don't know. It's just you know it's it's not all it's not always fun, but of course it's better than doing something you hate all the time. So uh,
Is there any particular time or incidents that have you feeling that you're still staying the course and doing the right thing for you?
well, yeah, I mean, and anytime I have a good night, I feel that way.
Oh, it's a good night.
And
Explain what a
most
good night is.
a good night for me is first of all feeling like I played well. Um, feeling really good about my playing, and and I think second of all, feeling like the audience really enjoyed what I was doing. And it probably should be the other way around, but I've had times where I didn't feel like I played well, and people still responded really well, and that's great. I
Yeah,
mean
exactly.
and
I can relate.
yeah, it's but it's still, you know, um, if there's still that thing hanging where, well, it might have got through, but I don't feel like I really was doing this, like I hit it, you
Yeah.
know. So to me, that's a really good night, is when you've connected with the audience and you really feel like you played well,
Yeah, I
where
get that.
you connected with yourself too.
I get that. Absolutely. So when you're playing, are you are you I mean, I know your playing is pretty intense. I've seen you play. And you're really good at it. So when you're playing, are you connecting with the audience, or are you in your own orb as far as getting the song out there and doing it right, or how does that work for you?
I think it's probably more the latter, um, because I'm more of a musician than I am an entertainer by a long shot. I'm not a good entertainer. I mean, but um,
Says you.
well, hopefully what I do entertains people, but I'm not really good at engaging the crowd, and that's why uh, I felt more comfortable as a sideman than as a
Yeah.
front man, even though I like to do the front man thing, and uh, have my own band, or do the solo stuff or whatever. Um, I like doing that, but I'm not always going to engage with the crowd very well,
Yeah.
and so the music has to,
Right.
ha,
Catch
ha,
and hold them. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean that's just who that's my personality. I mean,
Yeah.
and
We teach
um,
all and I absolutely. So
yeah.
the last few things I'd like to ask you is, how long do you see yourself playing?
Oh, well, as long as I can carry my stuff and drive to the gig, and as long as I can remember the songs, and as long as my fingers move,
Electric figure, yeah. I
and
get that.
as long as people will pay me to do it and will come out to see me, I mean, so that's it.
Absolutely. I got it. And the last thing we have about maybe 2 minutes for this one, but do you have anything to say to the people out there listening who are not at the point that you are after many, many years? I think you quoted something like about 40 years in the industry, who might be just coming up that would like to hear a little bit of advice from you.
Um, I don't know. It's such a different world now from
Yeah,
when I came
yeah,
up,
absolutely.
um, and I know a lot of young, talented players, and I'm actually kind of concerned because I don't know if a, a lot of them, their audiences are people more our age rather than their contemporary. At least that's my impression.
Right. No,
I
no,
hope,
I get it. Yeah, I agree.
and so it's like, when we die off, I hope they'll still have,
Before we die off.
there'll, there'll be people still that they'll still have an audience, and hopefully so. But other than that, um, that's not really advice. I get that's an observation, but as far as advice goes, I don't know. I guess just if you believe in yourself, and you love it, and you love what you're doing, keep doing it as long as you can, you know.
Exactly. You're getting some thumbs up here on my at the top of my screen here. So obviously they enjoyed that advice. Well, I guess we're already there. I can't believe it's been an hour, but we did get through it and I've enjoyed it. I'm sure my listeners have from their comments. If you get a chance to go online, Amateur Musicians or my Facebook site, this will be posted on there. I'll also send you the YouTube version of it. I don't know if they have all the comments on there or not. I really haven't played around with it. But if you get a chance, you may want to talk to some of these people and maybe answer. Not everybody does, so it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Do want to thank you for coming on today, Rod. I've enjoyed your playing and I've enjoyed the information that you sent to me. And I'm sure everybody else out there, because you got a lot of comments. When you get a lot of comments, that's a good thing, right? All right.
Yep.
You take care, and I hope to see you in the future. I'm going to look into getting that CD uncooked. So I will respond to you on that one. And how do you have Venmo, or how do you do your money?
Venmo or PayPal, yeah.
Okay, good.
Either one.
I have that. All right.
Okay.
All right. You have a good rest of your day. Thanks
All right,
everybody
you
for
too.
listening today.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for today. Rod is a humble man, and he has an awful lot of skill that he's not talking about. So I just want to make sure that you do listen to him, go to his gigs. And in the meantime, I will be back next week with another guest, and we will see you then. So stay safe. Bye, everybody.